Only presidential candidate. We want presidential candidate. Presidential candidate. Only presidential candidate. That's what we want. Only we want presidential candidate. Sit down. Look at the
Mr. Peter Obi is your preferred candidate for 2023. What's your reason, sir?
My reason is the man that have Nigeria interests. Understand? The man that will unify Nigerians. No, the man that know the solution, not to bring them, but to know how to solve the solution. That's the reason why I support Peter Obi.
Peter Obi serves Dino Melaye hot response to his questions and put him in his place for insulting obedience. Watch.
My question this evening is to former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi. And the question is straightforward. With the uncoordinated security network among the security agencies today, and the lack of proper coordination between the office of the president and the vice president, do you, as presidential candidate of Labour Party, believe that the office of the president and vice president is one and same or not? Thank you.
Okay. Well, it's a town hall meeting. Mr. Peter Obi, I see that you want to take that first. Mr. Peter Obi, candidate of the Labour Party.
The office of the president and the office of the vice president is not the same. There's a commander-in-chief. The button stops at somebody's desk. He can, of course, delegate that power. That is why when the president travels, we talk about transition. The vice president cannot is not commander-in-chief. In terms of coordination, they should work as a family. They should work together. But as president and commander-in-chief, the decision and the buck stops on my desk. I'll be responsible to Nigerians. Thanking my vice president.
Quiet in the hall, please.
Thanking my vice president will be working very closely with me. That even the constitution have areas where he delegated the vice president to head. It didn't say he's commander-in-chief. So I'll be in charge. And I will not...
Please, no noise from the hall.
But that notwithstanding, everybody in government, like the Governor Kowa has said, has to work as a family. A family doesn't mean that you don't have a head. A family...
Very quickly.
Don't call everybody. This man is ANPP now. He called it to be people. You see what is happening here? I won't take this. He called it to be people. This colonel is ANPP person now. You call it to be people. Stop that, please, Dino. You did, Dino. Stop that. I'm taking a lot from you here. What is what? Why are you always calling me?
Very quickly. I just want to make you all realize.
However, if there's need to borrow, I'm not against borrowing. I've always advocated it. You borrow for production. It's allowed. There's every country of the world is owing, but you borrow for, even those we're using, for example, like Singapore, everybody calls, is 120% of their GDP is in debt. So you borrow for production. If we borrow for production, then we would have been better off today, even servicing our debt. So I will do whatever it takes to ensure that we bring a balanced budget and strictly borrow for production, which will grow the economy and be able to pull people out of poverty.
I'm aware that the PDP is strong in all the 6 geopolitical zones, very strong, and strong in all states. That is a statement of fact, and we are busy campaigning to Nigerians based on a manifesto and the credibility of the persons who are on the ticket of the party. Secondly, as of the last time I checked, In 2019, I'm sure, Peter Obi was vice presidential candidate to Atiku Abubakar. He said he paid a lot of glowing tributes to Atiku Abubakar. And as at the last time I checked, up to May 24th, 2022, he was still an aspirant under the PDP. So you cannot claim to be strange to the PDP or strange to the past. It is wrong to present that kind of situation to Nigerians. I think it's important that we begin to address issues the way they were. As for my brother, Dr. Rabi Kobanso, I thank you for your comments. But as at the last time that I checked, apart from little issues that we're having in Kano, you are still in the PDP and the leader of the PDP. And you have been part of the PDP. Are you now telling Nigerians that you contributed to the destruction that you claim is happening in this nation? Too many good things came in from the PDP. 1999 to 2007. Let's take note of that. It's important that we educate Nigerians.
Thank you.
Get through the path that will lead us to new growth. We must take very key note of that. We must also realize that until this nation begins to realize that it is not all about the presidency and the federal government, that until the state governments start to be very participatory and play very key roles in the governance of this nation, we share responsibilities where the federal government and the state government and the local governments are able to come together on the table to think Nigeria in ways that work for Nigeria. We may not be able to develop fast as we think we ought to be. We must realize that until we begin to develop the human capital of this nation, either in terms of education, which is very key, or you're talking about the health services sector, or job creation and the improvement in skills of our people and the entrepreneurship of our young, we may not be getting things right. And we cannot really discuss the economy in full or find ways of getting a secured nation without ensuring that all these things come together and that we process it in such a manner that everything works in a united country where everybody is free to make his contribution, and that we need to begin to run an economy that is more of a private sector-led economy, and where government is supposed to provide the enabling environment for the economy to be revived and to thrive. This is very key. We understand that insecurity is quite a lot in this nation. In fact, a lot of people are not even able to move around anymore on the roads. A lot of people are not able to do what they are supposed to do because of the issues that we find in this country. But the truth is, the Atiku government is committed to securing this nation. We are committed to reviving the economy. We are committed to a united, inclusive country. We are committed to the devolution of powers, and we are committed to ensuring that we pay special attention to human capital development. Thank you.
Well, we've all listened to the opening.
It is clear that Dino Melaye showed up at the Arise TV town hall meeting or presidential debate, as Ruben Abati wants us to call it. He showed up just to insult P2B. As for Tinubu representative, he doesn't care. He just showed up to represent P2B, to insult P2B. You heard him saying in the background, Ubi.
To any of company I was involved, you must borrow money from somewhere else. And above all, I borrowed money locally and internationally. I can say today that by the time I left England, I have the highest credit rating any English person can have. Based on that business today, I'm still being invited. So personally, I do not get involved in that. And I have a vice who I believe is that tries on the same thing. Both of us will fight corruption because it's critical, and we'll find a head up where we'll bring it to a minimal, if not entirely eliminate it. Because it starts from you. If you are not stealing, your family is not stealing, those around you, you can control them, you put it in check. So I'm saying to you, we will go in there and manage the resources of the state. We've done it somewhere, and we want to do it at the center. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Rabi Okwankwanso, presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's
Party. Thank you very much.
1 minute, sir.
Now, yes, you see, I think the gentleman shouldn't worry himself. The constitution of this country has taken care of that. Any presidential candidate that came out to the face of ethnicity, tribe, religion, region, he has lost the election even before the election. The Constitution says
Quiet in the hall.
very clearly,
please remember
that
the
for
rules
you to win an election, you have to have the highest number of votes. That is one. Secondly, and more importantly, to address this issue, you have to have 2/3 or 25% in the 2/3 of the, which is 24 states. North cannot win election on its own. South cannot win election on its own. Hausa man, Igbo man, Yoruba man. My belief is that gentleman should not worry himself. The constitution which I participated in drafting, which is the 1999 constitution, has taken care of that. So whether you say Namu Namuni, you only belong to one tribe, Namu Namuni, you only belong to one region or one religion. So that's the position of the constitution. So you shouldn't worry. I'm not even worried. Thank you very much.
Please, quiet in the hall. Please, we made it clear. No clapping, no cheers, no jeers. Please, please, let's keep this completely dignified. Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, your turn.
The gentleman talked about love for humanity, and I believe that that is very instructive, and I believe that most presidential candidates have that clearly in their mind. On the issue of a pan-Nigerian that we're looking out for, of course, in the People's Democratic Party, that was what we saw from the beginning, and we decided we're not going to zone the presidency, and that any Nigerian who is best fitted should be allowed to emerge at the convention. We had a very credible primary, and our presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar did emerge. The important thing is that we must think about Nigeria, continue to unify Nigeria, because that's a pathway to solving the insecurity in this country, and we must think about running a very inclusive government in which every agitation that we see, we must look into it. Those that we need to attend to as a result of political dialogue, we need to do that. Whereas those issues that are involved with criminality, we deal with it by the law. Once you're able to set your goals right and to follow it rightly, I'm sure that we'll be able to get Nigeria right again.
Okay, we take one more question from the hall. Who is going to take the microphone?
Good evening, fellow countrymen and women. My name is Dino Melaye. My question this evening is to former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, and the question is straightforward. With the uncoordinated security network among the security agencies today, and the lack of proper coordination between the office of the president and the vice president, do you, as presidential candidate of Labour Party, believe that the office of the president and vice president is one and same or not? Thank you.
Okay. Well, it's a town hall meeting. Mr. Peter Obi, I see that you want to take that first. Mr. Peter Obi, candidate of the Labour Party.
The office of the president and the office of the vice president is not the same. There's the commander-in-chief. The button stops at somebody's desk. He can, of course, delegate that power. That is why when the president travels, we talk about transition. The vice president cannot is not commander-in-chief. In terms of coordination, they should work as a family. They should work together. But as president and commander-in-chief, the decision and the buck stops on my desk. I will be responsible to Nigerians. That That you, my vice president.
Quiet in the hall, please.
That you, my vice president, will be working very closely with me. That even the constitution have areas where he delegated the vice president to head. It didn't say he's commander-in-chief. So I'll be in charge. And I will not...
Please, no noise from the hall.
But that notwithstanding, everybody in government, like the Governor Kowa has said, has to work as a family. A family doesn't mean that you don't have a head. A family, the father is the head, but it's still a family. And they live together. So we will be a family, but I will be in charge.
Please respect the rules of engagement. No cheers, no clapping, no jeers, please. This is fairly straightforward to understand. Senator, Dr. Kwankwanso.
Thank you very much. Now, for the purposes of what happened earlier on here, I believe that there is always supposed to be a synergy between the president, vice president, governor, deputy governor, and so on and so forth. When a gentleman came and asked me whether he should, representative of Waziri should stay, I said he should stay. Why? Because, you see, we have very limited time now for campaigns. And we have so many invitations from so many organizations for debates, for town hall, for this and that and so on. No candidate can boast of saying, I will attend all of them. And for purposes of respect, I believe there is need for meetings like this to accept representative. And I think that is the position. That's how I see it. It's very important. Whichever group that is having this sort of thing should accept. Somebody who is abroad, I think the man sitting here is better than the person who did not come or send any representative. Thank you very much.
Please, quiet in the auditorium. Please, let's respect the rules. Let's respect the rules. Can we have some quiet? Okay, next, Mr. Kola Abiola, presidential candidate of the PRP.
Yes, thank you very much. In the same vein with His Excellency, when all that was going on, I consulted with my Vice President also. And our own take on this was that, look, you know what? We're here. It's better to have representation than no representation at all. And let's get this thing going. But more importantly, I think also the organizers must respect their own rules also to avoid this kind of situation. If you put the rules there, enforce them. Many a times you make the rules, you never stick by them, and you change them to suit other parties. I think that is totally wrong. There must be a total level playing field. So let's avoid this going forward.
Let's be quiet in the hall.
Let's avoid this going forward. Thank you.
Please, let's be quiet in the hall. Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of the People's Democratic Party.
Hello. There's no doubt that in the presidency is one, but there's no doubt that there is a commander-in-chief. That is not controvertible. But concerning the issue that took place tonight, I read the letter of invitation to my presidential candidate. It did not clearly state that you cannot be represented. Obviously, it was not. I read it. And we also called to confirm whether he could be represented. And we were asked to go ahead that he could be represented because he was overseas. And I think that that settles that matter. But the presidency must work as one. And I thank all the participating persons here because they understand that very clearly. And we must understand that there is a need for people to pull along together. If the president can transmit power to the vice president, it means that vice president has that power at some point in time. Thank you.
Please, no clapping, no jeers. Please. Okay, at this point, I have questions from the Nigerian Guild of Editors, who are our partners in presenting this program. And the questions are as follows. I'm going to take all three. One, Kwankwanso, are you taking votes away from the All Progressives Congress so that we can have a political deadlock situation? Is that your plan? Two, Peter Obi, are you also trying to take votes away from the People's Democratic Party in order to create a deadlock in the 2023 presidential election? And in both cases, and this is directed to all the four persons who have been addressing us since we started this program, in both cases, what will each party do? Who would like to go first? I know there are 2 pointed questions. The third one is a general one for all the four persons on stage. You want to respond to that first, Mr. Peter Obi? Okay, Dr. Rabi Kwankwanso.
Thank you very much. You see, there are so many Nigerians who still don't understand the way we operate. NNPP is not taking votes from either APC or PDP. NNPP is taking votes from both parties, that is one. Secondly, people who are not voting at all, or people who are just to start voting in 2023. I'm happy to say today, based on our understanding, NNPP is the only growing party. The two parties, based on our own analysis, have nothing to tell Nigerians that is new. And this, my brother, who I believe is going to speak next, please hold Southeast very well. You will do a good job for our party and for Nigerians. Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching Precious.ij channel. Subscribe, like and share.